Hello.
Hi, Anu.
Hi. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
Fine, fine.
Good to see you.
Yeah, same here.
So we have Dhanesha and CFA and English. We are 30 already present now. So can we start, Gayatri, Sudipta, or we should wait a few more minutes?
I think we can start on time, Bani.
Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Very good afternoon to you all. Thank you all for joining us, for registering and joining us today in the webinar. Um, like our time is precious, but having all of you together to share a very important discussion today. Thanks for making time. So let's start. So I hope to start with the webinar, I'm sharing few of the instructions that will make our you know, uh, next few hours a bit easier. When you join, please write your name. You can also put the pronoun and your organization name. Those who joined, you can rename yourself and you can put your name, pronoun, and then organization name. And then you can choose language in Tamil, Sinhala, or English, and we would request you all to introduce yourself in the chat box so that it's easy for everyone to getting to know each other, and also we can start the discussion. And for to move ahead with the discussion, we'd request everyone to take the note, share your comments, questions in the chat box so that we can bring it, and we have, like, after finishing the presentation, we'll have a discussion session and we'll have a question answer session. So we'll discuss at that point, and afterwards we can also share if we verbally want to share our comments. So we would request everyone to take notes and raise hands when it's your time. Yeah, John, do you want to share anything?
Please reassign me as interpreter.
Yeah, Anu, can you do that?
Thank you.
So yeah, so having said that, we can start our today's webinar. So to start our webinar today, I would request our colleague Sudipta Mukhopadhyay from Korea to share her welcome speech. Over to you, Sudipta.
Thank you, Bani. Good afternoon, everybody, and a very, very warm welcome from the Kriya team to each one of you for taking out time today to be with us. I'm Sudipta, and I work with Gayatri and Bani in the FON team, and I lead the FON team. A very brief introduction of Kriya. Some of you might know Kriya is a feminist human rights organization based in the Global South. We work on rights-based approach to sexuality and gender equality. We promote sexual rights for all by building leadership capacities, working with activists and allies, and increasing access to new information. We continue to work on GBV through an intersectional lens and movement building efforts led by women and girls, persons with disabilities, non-binary, gender non-conforming, trans and intersex people. So work really kind of reaches out in terms of with allies in different countries, including Sri Lanka, and where we are having this webinar today. And we are very, very happy from Kriya to be with all of you today on this important issue, to know more about from the study, and also hearing from you all during the discussion. So nothing much else at this stage, waiting to hear and know more. Over to you, Bani. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sudipta. So now I'm sure those who joined would love to hear about Feminist Opportunities Now project. So I would request Gayatri to share us about FON. Over to you, Gayatri.
Thank you, Bani, and welcome everyone. My name is Gayatri Kamage. I work with Bani and Sudipta and few of us who are here at KRIA as the Feminist Opportunities Now project manager. Very excited to be here today. And let me also tell you a bit about Feminist Opportunities Now project. So we work in a consortium that consists of 5 organizations, and we, as a consortium, work in Latin America, Africa, and Asia. And KRIA is leading the Asia component of the Feminist Opportunities Now initiative. So we basically look at strengthening feminist structures to address gender-based violence, and we mainly focus in the 2 countries, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. So this webinar is about the mapping we have carried out with our dear colleagues from Mercedes Mundu, MTM. About Sri Lanka, we had the mapping exercise carried out for Bangladesh as well, which is carried out last week. You can find the recording of the Bangladesh webinar in our website, Feminist Opportunities Now website. So FON basically look at a grant making component where we financially facilitate initiatives to address gender-based violence. We also carry out dialogues and learning exchanges with feminist civil society organizations. We also carry out capacity sharing initiatives in the form of trainings through training programs, and also a couple of other initiatives on facilitating feminist civil society organizations into global advocacy forums. We are looking at mainly feminist civil society organizations working in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. So to position this particular webinar, so in the beginning of the project initiation last year, we carried out a comprehensive mapping. Maria is going to tell more of a background about the study, but to give an intro, the mapping gave a basic contextual understanding on what are the laws and policies, what is the environment our civil society organizations operate in. So this is a summary of that study for Sri Lanka. Bani, over to you, and we are happy to answer any questions you have over the chats about feminist opportunities now. Thank you very much for your time.
Gayatri, when you were sharing about FON, would you also like to share our window 2 call?
Oh, yes. So if you go to KRIA website, kriaworld.org, we have 2 calls, 2 windows open. We have a grant programs for a boost fund that is open as a roll call. You can apply, feminist civil society organizations can apply funding up to 5,000 to 10,000 euros under that window. And we have a second window that is open for a develop, we call it develop grant window. And that is, the deadline is 20th May. Barney is sharing the links to access these calls, so you can go to the links and process them. And we also have a help desk open, so feel free to get in touch with us. We particularly encouraged new feminist, new small scale. We also fund unregistered groups. Please feel free to get in touch with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gayatri. I'm sure it will help all our participants to find our work from the website, and also if they want to apply for grant, they can do it. Thank you so much, Gayatri. So moving ahead, since we heard from Sudipta on behalf of Kriya, and we also learned about FON Project. So it's time to hear those who are supporting us. Like FON is supported by AFD. So this is a moment we would also like to hear from them. I would like to request Laos to share on behalf of AFD. So I'm sorry if I pronounce the name wrong, but over to you, Laos.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You pronounced it perfectly. Thank you very much, Bani.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Laos.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I don't see my camera. My camera is on, but my screen is all green. I really don't know why. I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure it out. But I will start without a camera, no problem. So Sudipta, Gayatri, it's nice to see you again, even though you cannot see me. But thank you for Kriya for organizing this event. I'm very excited to hear more about the analytical mapping of the civil society organization. And thank you for the opportunity to outline AFD's commitment toward gender equality. A few words on AFD. It's the French Development Agency. So we are in charge of implementing a French international solidarity policy. And we work in more than 115 countries for a total commitment of 18 billion euros. Within AFD, we are aware of the urgency to strive for women's empowerment to achieve a development outcome. We call ourselves a feminist development agency. It can be frightened for some of the stakeholders, but what we mean is that we want to ensure that the project benefits are equally shared by all. As you know, gender discrepancy can hinder access or capacities, and we stay aware of these issues to avoid to all our projects to exacerbate inequalities. So from diligences to implementation, we conduct gender-based diagnosis and design gender action plans. We want to ensure this way that every stakeholder is aware of equality issues and share our perception of it. For example, in South Asia in 2022, we collect annually indicators, and we know that 60% of our commitments, including a gender co-benefit. We target 75% for 2025. I hope we can reach this target. In Sri Lanka, we want to be in line with France's feminist foreign policies, so we work closely with the French embassy that has also some project on women's empowerment and on gynecological and obstetrical violences. So we support initiatives of women's empowerment and reduction of gender-based violence. In all our projects, we design all our projects with a gender lens focus. But there are two projects that I would like to emphasize on. The first one is a package of study. We entrusted a local institute to conduct 3 studies, one about the sanitation sector, one about the role of women in agriculture. So we have some recommendation about how to better integrate women in the irrigation sector or in the water supply sector. And the last one is about the gynecological and obstetrical violences that every woman encountered. The second project I would like to emphasize on for sure is the FON, Feminist Opportunities Now. So you all did a very good introduction of it. I will not repeat what it is about, but just to let you know that within AFD, we really appreciate the holistic approach that you combine training, you combine networking, and advocacy as well. So you create a safe space for advocacy, strengthen capacity of civil society organization, and you foster networking among all actors, all actors that are committed, and we really appreciate it. Sorry, did you say anything?
Sorry, loves. Please, everyone, can you please mute yourself if you're not talking?
Yeah, I'll be brief. Sorry, so
Yeah,
we can
please,
stop the
please go
webinar.
ahead. I think some of our colleagues joined and they didn't mute themselves. Yeah, please go ahead.
So I'll be very brief. I just wanted to say that you're working on gender-based violence. It's one of the most prevalent human rights violation in the world, and to work toward its reduction, we need awareness rising as well as civil society organization support. And since the conception of this project, as I understood, efforts were carried out to encourage the participation of every kind of organization working with vulnerable communities. As Gayatri just said, they encourage small-scale structures to apply for the call for application. And we think that doing this way, it's the best way to work as close as possible with the local communities to provide some realities from the field on the ground, and hence to design tailored solutions. So I would like to sincerely thank CREA for their work and their dedication to the project's achievement. And I look forward for this analytical mapping and to hear all of your contributions during this webinar. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry for this camera issue.
Thank you so much, Laos, for your very brief but very informative sharing. So we hope we can see you within our discussion session. It would really great for participants to know you, to know more about AFD, and I'm sure if the camera is okay, then everyone can see you too. So thank you so much. Thanks for joining and thanks for sharing us. So before moving to the presentation, I would like to check again with all of our colleagues participants today that whether the language in different channels are okay with everyone. So we have Tamil, Sinhala, and English channel. We request colleagues to go to the taskbar and click on the interpretation. There is a globe sign. If you click on that, you can go to different language channel. You can choose the channel and hear as you preferred language. So I would also request colleagues, if you cannot clearly hear, then please write in the chat box so that I can communicate the interpreter coordinator and make it clear for you all. So you all need to click on one language channel so that you can hear it clearly. So I request everyone to check your language channel. And again, I would request everyone to mute yourself during the presentation. Take notes of your questions, comments, and anything that you want to share. After the presentation, we'll have time to share our questions, comments, and if you want to just add any context from Sri Lanka, that will get the chance. So please stay with us while we will hear the presentation. So saying that, I would request Maria to start the presentation. And Gayatri shared about the work, the huge work that has been done, and I'm sure Maria will also share us the brief of this huge work. Over to you, Maria.
Thank you, Bunny. Hello, everybody. Thank you, colleagues from CREA, and thank you for joining us. I am very happy to see the CCO who have contributed to the result of the study in Sri Lanka. I have recognized some of you, so that is really interesting for us. I am Maria. I am one of the coordinators of this study. I am based in Morocco, and I have coordinated this study with my colleague Antonia, and I have worked strongly with our national expert in Sri Lanka, Salma Youssef, who unfortunately is not available to join us today. So I'm going to present to you the result in a general manner, especially in the context of Sri Lanka. As we have said at the beginning, this study has targeted 10 countries in different contexts. The presentation is organized in 3 main points. The first one is the methodology that we have used. The second one is the general finding in all the countries. And finally, I'm going to present the specific findings in your country, Sri Lanka. Concerning the methodology of the study, first thing I want to share with you is that this study has been really, really challenging for us because, as I said, we have been working in 3 countries, in 10 countries, sorry, in very different contexts. 2 countries in Latin America, Mexico and Colombia, 3 in West Africa, Burkina Faso, Niger, Guinea, and Cote d'Ivoire, 2 in East Africa, Kenya and Ethiopia, and 2 in Asia, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. Methodologically, we have used 3 main tools, and we have worked in the inception phase for the conception of the methodology and the research tools. I'm going to present after this tool, but they are interviews, focus group, and a survey that we have distributed online in each country. Concerning data collection, it's fine. I'm hearing, okay, it's fine. Concerning data collection, our teams in each country work strongly with the CSO in the country. And finally, we have worked in the analysis of the quantitative and the qualitative data in Morocco. I mean, my colleague Antonia and me, we have centralized all the information to produce a document standardized concerning the different countries. Concerning data collection, so in a global level, we have done 123 semi-structured interview. This interview have been done with national feminist CCO, international CCO, government, and international cooperation institution. From them, 10 interviews have been done in Sri Lanka, 6 of them with CCO. The other interviews have been done with international cooperation institution. Okay, in some countries, we have made interviews with institutions and governments, but in Sri Lanka, we have only have interview with CCO and international cooperation institution. Concerning focal groups, we have organized 1 focus group in each country, with the exception of Bangladesh. We couldn't organize any focus group. And in Burkina Faso and Guinea, we organized 2 focus groups. In the focus group organized in Sri Lanka, 13 CCO were represented. And finally, the main information that we have analyzed in our report come from an online survey we have distributed in all the country. 310 online questionnaires were received. This questionnaire has been completed by Feminist and CSO. And in Sri Lanka, we targeted 48 CSO, but only 27 started the survey, 20 passed the eliminatory question, and 20 complete the survey. What does that mean? That means that we introduced some elimination question concerning, especially was the CCO was a feminist organization. It's the CCO operated in the field of gender-based violence, and we have excluded all institutions, individuals, research center. So only CCO was allowed to complete the survey. Concerning the result in a general, in a global level, the study is a very huge document, so I can't share with you all the information. So we have chosen the information that we think is the most important for you. And in fact, we are organizing presentation in all the targeted countries, and we have the same presentation adapted to the national contest. That means that the results that I'm going to present are especially based in the survey. So we are not going to share the result of the qualitative data or the research data that we have also done. But I would like to add that when we try to collect information about gender-based violence with an international dimension, it was very complicated in all the countries because we have found that the data are not standardized and is not updated. And that's what really challenging for us. So some information about the global result of the study. The targeted population in the 10 countries. So we can find similar tendencies. So the first targeted population are women and girls. That is for all the countries. We are going to see later what is the context for Sri Lanka. But in general, women is the main targeted population, followed by girls and children, boys and men. And we can see also, no, because we have worked in a very international perspective. And for example, we can see that gender diverse individuals are only concerned by 32% ANSES worker by 27%. For example, men and boys involved as targeted population are included in awareness and campaigns, okay, protecting population. Concerning, oh, sorry, concerning, I can't see the name of the, sorry, I have a problem with the, concerning the services and activities in the field. That is also a tendency because we can observe that in general, feminist CCO who has participated to our study work more in activities related with awareness, capacity building, than in activities related with protection, research, advocacy, and legal justice, and things like that. That can be explained because most of CCO has expressed a very big problem to mobilize funding. And with this problem of funding, we can understood that working in awareness and capacity building, targeting population is less expensive than working in protection or advocacy. Okay, and that is general in all the countries, but we'll see later the special context in your country. Concerning the budget is really a very huge challenge. So for all the CCO, the financial capacities are very limited. We can see that 70% of the CCO in general have a budget under 50,000 euros per year, okay? And only 30% have a budget exceeding 50,000 euros per year. That means that really not CCO in a general manner don't managing a very huge budget. Furthermore, we can add that 43% of the CCO have less than 5,000 euros per year. including 16% that don't have any budget. Okay, so we can find that budgeting is a really challenging. But despite this problem concerning the financial and the budget, 88% of the CCO have affirmed to have a place or an office to work, to meet, and only 12 have indicated that they don't have a place to meet. So I think that will be important. Concerning the CCO capacities, we introduce a question in our questionnaire. So if you respond to our questionnaire, you know that the questionnaire was very, very, very large. We introduced, I think, 45 or 46 questions. So it was a very, very big questionnaire. Thank you for the effort to respond. We can't share of the response, so we have chose some of them, but we think that capacities is really important because that is related with the opportunities of FON project. We introduce a question related with the level of agreement with the statement. My organization faces structural problems. We have an impact on its capacity for action. And the problem related with financial stability, diversification of funding, turnover, and other things related with this issue. And we put an average score between 1 and 5. 1 means that you totally disagree with this statement, and 5, you totally agree. So if we see this, the result of the question, we can observe that feminist CCO in a global manner, working on gender-based violence, have structural problems affecting their capacity for action. So the countries who more disagree with this agreement are Kenya, Mexico, and Colombia. And the 2 last countries we more agree with this statement are Sri Lanka and Burkina Faso. So you are concerned by the low level, I mean, with the capacities and the problem to face problems impacting your capacity for action. So you are at the end of the results. In general, the environment of work of CCO, when we ask to CCO in our questionnaire and in the interviews and the focus group about the difficulties and the problems that you face in your work in general, CCO evaluate the environment for the activities as a challenging. Security has been present that the main first contextual factor affecting your work, and that's in general in all the countries. And CCO are concerned about risks to their security and integrity and are unsatisfied with the existing mechanism in the country to ensure the protection against attack and threats. In general, you would like also to improve the level of implementation of legal measures to fight gender-based violence and to feel more supported by national institutions. CCO in general identified community barriers for the eradication of gender-based violence, and community leaders have been identified as one of the opponents to international feminists. That is also in a general manner, and this is related with traditional and conservative values. I'm going to come back because I didn't present this, I don't know why, but I didn't present this slide concerning the fields more addressed by CCO. I think that is important, I mean, by the different kinds of gender-based violence, because in a general manner, sexual violence is the main kind of violence targeted by feminist CCO participating in the study, followed by physical violence and psychological violence. And after that, we have sexual and reproductive rights. But that's change concerning different contexts. We are going to see the context of Sri Lanka. But for example, we found that political violence that is 40% concerned by 40% of the CCO, for example, is very important in Colombia because the country faces a very problem concerning the armed conflict in the country. And for example, I'm looking for female genital mutilation that is only concerned by 41% of the work of the CCO. That is the first area of working for the CCO working in Guinea. That is for explain that we find that sexual violence, physical violence, and psychological violence is the main kinds of forms of violence in a general manner, but that the other kinds of violence change depending of the national context. Finally, concerning the defending of Sri Lanka, your country. So concerning the areas of intervention, so we can find that sexual violence is the main area of intervention that you have indicated in the questionnaire, followed by economic violence and psychological violence. Physical violence is very important also. Sexual and reproductive also is the last one we can't see. But we can also observe that, for example, online or digital violence is 55%. That has, especially in Sri Lanka, has been mentioned by different CCO that has been increased after COVID crisis. For example, child marriage is also important with 50%. Human trafficking is also important, relatively important in your country because of the movement between people due to the political context. So that is the result concerning the areas of intervention in Sri Lanka. Concerning the services, we can observe that for your country, you have answered that capacity building on gender-based violence prevention is the main services, followed by awareness on gender-based violence targeting population and capacity building on advocacy against gender-based violence. After that, we have 60% for capacity building on sexual and reproductive rights. 55% capacity building on self-defense. So we can observe that when we have more implication with targeted population, I mean, care of the case of things related with this issue, we have more services. So as we have seen the general presentation, in Sri Lanka also the main services are related with awareness, capacity building, with targeting population. We are going to see also that we have a very big problem related with budgeting and financial mobilization. Concerning the level of intervention of the CCO, which have participated in our survey, 40% of the CCO works at the national level, 55% at the local level, and only 5% of the CCO developed their activity at the regional level, especially in the Kandy region. Concerning the targeted population, we have that woman is the main targeted population, 85%, girls 70%, followed by boys 59%, men 45%, and ethnic minorities 45%. So we can observe also that women and girls are the main targeted population. That is related with the national, with the global tendencies that we have observed before. Boys and men are also important, and in your country specifically ethnic minorities are important, 45%. That is not the case for all the countries. Concerning the assistance capacity, that means the beneficiaries you can receive per year, you have responded that 30% of the CCO have more than 200 beneficiaries per year, 25% less than 100, and 35% between 100 and 200. Concerning gender diverse individual or LGBTQ+, you have responded that 48% of the CCO work with this population, and only 22% works with sex workers. In fact, I forgot to say before that the questionnaire, we introduced in the questionnaire several questions related with gender diverse individual and sex worker, because the study was planned in a very intersectional manner. But this intersectional manner, we couldn't work in Burkina and in Niger, because these issues are very, very complicated. Concerning the funding, so you can see that only 20% of the surveyed CCO have an annual budget above 50,000 euros per year. So we can find that the financial issue is a very problem for you. We have 40% of the CCO that have a budget between 5,000 and 20,000 euros per year. So that is very challenging. Concerning the origin of the funding, international cooperation funds are the main financial for your country. That is not the case for all the countries, because especially in countries from Africa and some of in America, we have found that funding provided by members are the main funding. They provide the main funding capacities. So international cooperation is important for you. So that is important and interesting for the FON project and the opportunities allowed by this fund. Public funds is just concerned by 30%, funding provided by private partners 20%. Concerning the impact of the situation in the budget, the number of people or the coordination with other actors in the last 5 years, we can observe that the COVID and the political situation have reduced the availability of the funding. So when we asked to the CCO if we have observed a change concerning the availability of funding in the last 5 years, 45% have affirmed a reduction. So that is important. Concerning the number of people assisted, 40% described reduction and increase. So it's the same level. And concerning the coordination with other actors, 50% have affirmed to have an increase of the coordination. So we can deduce that the COVID and the political situation have reduced the availability of the funds, and not a lot of change concerning the number of people assisted, but have considerably increase the coordination with other actors. And I think that is important because that means that you work in networking, and that is interesting. Concerning communication tools, communication is very important for the FON project because the project considered that communication is a very important tools for the awareness of people or things like that. So we introduced a question related with this, with communication, and 75% of respondents affirmed having a communication strategy, okay? Is Facebook the main communication tools used? In your case, but that is in general in all the countries, Facebook is the main important communication tools. In your country, website is the second main tools with the 60% of the response. It's interesting to observe that, for example, TV emission is only concerned by 5%, radio emission 5%, TV channel by 0%. That's what discusses in other presentation because CCO, especially in Colombia, discussed that using Facebook and TikTok and Instagram is especially concerned with young people, and other traditional communication tools like radio and TV emission are not really used, and this is in a general manner. So that means that the question, that is also a question for you, concerning your communication strategy. So who is the people targeted by these tools? You arrive to all the population or not, or you think that that is an issue? So it's a question that I open for you that have been discussed in other countries. Concerning the areas, so that is concerning the average that I have explained before. So 1 means that we are more consolidated areas, and 5 are the areas that we are capacity needs. So in your case, we can observe that sorry, I confused. It's the opposite. So 5, that means that is the area you are consolidated capacities, and 1 is the capacity needs. So we can observe that in your case, gender-based violence knowledge are the consolidated area, following gender mainstreaming, communication, strengthening of alliance of networking, project management, organization management. That's this area are the more consolidated, and the areas who needs more reinforcement are fundraising, gender-based case management, and self-protection. Finally, the conclusion. I think that is important because it's especially for your case. Sri Lanka is the first country where most feminist CCO, 85%, have more than 10 years of experience. In the other countries, CCO, feminist CCO participating to the study are really very young. In your case, that is different. More than 20% of CCO reported being registered under other statute, even if they function as CCO. That is also important because 20% of the CCO have reported that they work under other status. So that means they are not recognized as CCO, and that means that they have a very big problem to ask for a funding, to apply for a funding, and especially small and new CCO. But international cooperation is the main source of funding, as I said before. Concerning the challenge and the problem faced by CCO, the lack of funding, that is very, very, very a huge challenge for you. the negative attitude of the population, the poor coordination among different actors, and the disregard of some topics that affect more vulnerable groups, which show the lack of an international approach. For example, individuals with disabilities, migrant workers, and other people. I thank you for your listening. We can start with our discussion. Thank you.
Maria, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this, details within a brief time. So we know that we have a big report, and I know the research is the work that have been accomplished is really huge. But yeah, sharing this within a few minutes is critical that you have done. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. So at this point of time, we would request our colleagues, those who joined today in the webinar. We are actually observing that some of our colleagues joined together, like Center for Handicap. They actually, few of the colleagues joined together from like one channel. So yeah, so I would request everyone to, I'm sure you take the notes, you have comments, you have more information to share with us. So to go ahead with that, I'd request everyone to put your question in the chat box. And I would also request to Sudipta to facilitate this question answer session. Maria will respond our questions, but we would request to facilitate it. And if we have questions in Tamil and Sinhala, would also request Gayatri to work together with Sudipta so that it's easy for all of us to have this session together. So I'll be in the background support, but please go ahead, Sudipta and Gayatri, for the question answer session. So over to you.
Thanks, Maria, and thanks, Bani. What we could do is, if you could, if those who want to share a comment or have a question, if you could please put it in the chat. For now, we can take 2 to 3 questions together. And then after that round, we can also have a show of hands if someone wants to speak out and ask the question.
Is AFD allowed to ask some questions?
Yes, please share.
But I don't want to interrupt or ask before any civil society organization. So if anyone is raising hand or want to ask a question, feel free. But just I wanted to ask. At the end, you outlined the capacity needs and the consolidated areas. And I thought it was quite strange that among the consolidated areas, there are structural and organizational management. Because at the beginning, you showed that structural problems in Sri Lanka were ranked second among the 14 countries. If we look at the affirmation and how many civil society organizations agree with the statement that they have structural problems. So could we have more insight about it, or maybe some civil society organization that have structural problems could talk about it? And what do they refer to by these organizational and structural problems?
Maria?
I don't know if it was clear enough.
I respond. Yeah, thank you for your question. In fact, the first slide I shared with you concerning the statement was in a general, yes. So really, Sri Lanka was at the end of these capacities. And I don't have now the data for say to you exactly how many CCO. I can check the report to try to find this question waiting other questions. So that's fine for you. Because I have the reports in face of me. Yeah.
Maybe because it's an average, maybe only 3 or 4 of the CSO that answered in Sri Lanka have very big structural problems. But mainly the other ones answered that they have consolidated this topic and they have a better structural organization. So I don't know. We'll check also in the report and and try to find answers once the report is submitted.
Okay.
Thanks. We have one question, but it's not directly to Maria to this or to the study. Gayatri, you could respond to this question. In the upcoming round of FON grant, you want to know that are there any restriction or guidelines regarding the type of activities or interventions that can be proposed? Kind of advocacy, policy changes, capacity buildings. So maybe briefly, because about the FON grant window.
So, sorry, I have found, if I came back to the question of our colleague from the FD, because I have found the information. So I can share, so concerning the level of agreement with the statement, my organization faces structural problems, yeah. So we can find that 45 quite agree, 15 totally agree with this question. Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks,
It's okay,
Maria.
are you hearing me?
Yes, you're responding.
Excuse me, Maria. I think there is an interpretation swap that has happened. A technical glitch. Give us a few minutes to start this.
Okay. Okay. So that is the result concerning this question in your country. So regarding a specific capacity related to technical, financial, and administrative management, fundraising, mobilization, networking, communication, gender mainstream, international feminist approach. That is the main capacity that I have presented in my slide. We can say that the result is like 35% quite agree, 15% totally agree, 15 totally disagree, and 10 quite disagree. 55% also by CCO believe that they have already good capacities. So yeah, that is the result concerning this question.
Thanks, Maria. Gayatri, is the interpretation sorted? Or maybe you can then reply in Sinhala directly to the question related to the grant window.
Yes, I can say it in English so that the interpretations can work on single. So yes, we have in the front matter of the applications that we have shared, there's a particular area that we have given examples of interventions. However, the overall objective of this grant partnership is to address gender-based violence, and under that particular cap, you can apply in 3 segments. The first segment is you can apply for a co-grant, which means that you can ask for operational cost of the organization, and also if there are areas that your organization need to develop from technical point of view, where you need to relook at the strategic partnerships, or even the advocacy techniques you are using, basic capacity assessment of the organization and development of a strengthening plan. So such initiatives are welcome. And in terms of the intervention, any intervention that you think is required in your community to address gender-based violence. So you can either apply for a co-grant for technical support, technical development of the organization, and then for an intervention grant in the area of GPV, or a combination of these two. So both of these, half and half, or 1/3 and the rest. So you can tailor it in a way that suits best for your organization and community. And yeah, I hope I answered the question. And if you have further queries, you can always write to us. There's an email, phone@kriyaworld.org. It's a help desk. We respond to your questions within 2 days timeline. So please feel free to get in touch with us.
Thanks, Gayatri. Maria, there's a question for you. So the question is, in your research, did you find that certain districts in Sri Lanka where that were in particular high in certain areas of GBV? So any subnational data that you have, example, that, for example, in any particular district where sexual violence might be at 90%. So any kind of further breakdown of data district-wise, do you have that?
And just one clarification to make me sure, district means regions? It's or is this similar to region? No.
So Maria, we have like national, and then provincial, and then district.
Okay,
level.
so we are talking about territorial level, isn't it?
District level. The question is about district level.
Yeah, in fact, in the questionnaire, we didn't put any question to across between the level of intervention of the kinds of the gender of the kind of violence. So we don't have data in our study to understand if in some districts some kind of violence is more high than in other districts. So we didn't ask about that in any country. So this information is not available. But when we organized interviews and we organized the focus group in qualitative data, CCO participating told about different areas. For example, I can remember now that for women working in the textile area in the district of Colombo, some CCO talked about sexual violence in this context. In other contexts, I remember that CCO talk about sexual violence in the university in your context, but not about regional level. So that is depending on the CCO who participated to the interviews and focus group, talked about the area and people concerned by their work.
Thanks, Maria.
And unfortunately, sorry, because our national expert is not with us, unfortunately, because she organized the interviews and focus group. She has more information than me concerning the qualitative data.
Thank you. And we will share the report and the presentation And even after that, if you do have any question, please feel to reach out to us. Anyone else who would like to share in the chat or would like to speak out and ask or make a comment?
So Devta, if we can finish question answer session, if there is no more questions, then we can hear from our participants, from our colleagues. You know, they can add more about context and, you know, any of their observations.
Sure.
I have one last question, maybe.
Yes,
I'm
please.
sorry, it's not the role of IFT, but it was really interesting and so many statistics, and I'm only for 3 months, so I would like to know more about this mapping of CSO. You said that on the slide about fundings, you said that 65%, which is the main amount of the CCO, were funded by international cooperation funds, or I don't know, you called it again, international partners for development. And after it was 30% by public funds and 20 by private partners. I would like to know, compared to other countries, if this 65% is a lot, and so we could say that CCO are supported by international cooperation funds in Sri Lanka more than in other areas, or if it's not a lot, and if on other countries maybe CCO relies more on international cooperation funds. Or maybe you don't have the statistic and I find the answers in the reports, and it's just my personal issues, in fact.
Maria, you're on mute.
Yes, sorry, the micro was, yes. So 65% is a very, I put back the PPT slide, is an important in other countries, is so it's depending for the country. So, but because it's not the same case for all the countries, but 60% is a very interesting and important percentage. If you give me 2 minutes, I give you the good information, because it's a lot of data, so I can remember all the information, and I can give you exactly the percentage for all the countries. So can you wait for 2 minutes?
I'll be able to. No, but it's okay. But I will be able to find it in the. You will have a merged report, right? Including all the
Okay.
country statistics.
Okay, but I can say you that it's not the case for all the countries. In some countries, international cooperation is not important. In Sri Lanka, it's very important.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, not every statistic. Thank you very much, Maria.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Maria. Anyone else who would like to share?
Gayatri, hello. Gayatri.
Yes, please.
Hello, Manju Hemal, Sri Lanka Heart to Heart Organization. ඇත්තම අපි presentation එකේදී අපි දැක්කා විශේෂයෙන් මේ කාන්තා සංවිධානයකට කාන්තා මූලික සංවිධාන 122ක් වෙන එක අඩු වගේක් තමයි තිබුණේ. ඇත්තම මේකට එක හේතුවක් විදිහට මට මේ වෙලාවේ සඳහන් කරන්න පුළුවන් විශේෂයෙන් සමහර කාන්තා සංවිධාන තියෙන්නේ ආර්ථික يعني ස්වයං රැකියා පුහුණුවන් කරන කාන්තා සංවිධාන වෙන්න පුළුවන් නැත්නම් වෙන නිකන් සොසයිටි එකක් විදිහට සංවිධාන වෙලා තියෙන කාන්තා සංවිධාන එන්ටර්ටේන්මන්ට් විතරයි ඒගොල්ලෝ කරන්න කියන ඒවයි කාන්තා සංවිධානක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් අපිට මේ වෙලාවේ ඇත්තටම අපි විශේෂයෙන් හාට්වර්ඩ් සංවිධානය අපි ලංකාවේ LGBTQ සංවිධානයට වැඩ කරන ප්‍රජාවන් වෙනුවෙන් වැඩ කරන සංවිධානයක් විදිහට මම හිතන අපිත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධ වෙලා ඉන්න ට්‍රාන්ස් සෙක්ස් වර්කර්ස්ලා මේල් සෙක්ස් වර්කර්ස්ලා විශේෂයෙන් ෆීමේල් සෙක්ස් වර්කර්ස්ලා ඒ අයට වන මේ ඔය කියන harassment සම්බන්ධයෙන් මම හිතන්නේ විශාලම අත්දැකීම් තියෙන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ට. මොකද අපි grassroots level එකේ වැඩ කරනවා. විශේෂයෙන් grassroots level එකේ ප්‍රජාවත් එක්ක තමයි අපි අපේ සේවාවන් අපි සපයන්නේ. ඉතින් මම හිතනවා අපිට ඉදිරියේදී පුළුවන් වෙයි මේ අගේ අපිට වැඩි කරගන්න. මොකද විශේෂයෙන් මේ තියෙන harassment නැත්නම් මේ කියන වින්දිතයන් බහුලව ඉන්නේ මේ කාන්තාවන්ට වෙන harassment විශේෂයෙන් දැන් පොලිස් අත්අඩංගුවටපත් වීම female sex workersලා ගත්තොත් පොලිස් අත්අඩංගුවටපත් වීම පහර දීම සමහර විට තමන්ගේ සේවාලාභීන්ගෙන් පහර දීම වෙන්න පුළුවන් සමහර විට ඒ අය තමන්ගේ අවස්ථාව ඉටු කරගෙන මුදල් නොදී යන අවස්ථාවේදී පහර දීලා යන්න තියෙනවා එවැනි වටපිටාවක තමයි මේ තත්ත්වයේ තියෙන්නේ ඒක නිසා මම හිතනවා අපිට මීට වඩා ඉදිරියේදී පුළුල් අපිට අපේ කාන්තා ඒ සංවිධානවල දායකත්වය අපිට ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන් කියන එක ඒ වගේම විශේෂයෙන් වතු ආශ්‍රිතව ලංකා අපි මොකද අපි කොළඹ දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ සහ අනිකුත් දිස්ත්‍රික්කවල අපි වැඩ කරනකොට අපිට තියෙන අත්දැකීම තමයි වතු ආශ්‍රිතව ජීවත් වෙන ඒ ප්‍රජාවන්ගේ මේ ළමා විවාහ ටිකක් වැඩි වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒ අය අඩු වයසින් මේ මව් පදවිය ලැබුව අය ඉඳලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒක මම හිතන්නේ දැන් ඒක ටිකක් වැඩි වෙලා තියෙන එක තමයි අපිට පේන්නේ. ඉතින් අපි ඒ ගැනත් අපි මේ වෙලාවේ අවධානය ටිකක් යොමු කරමු කියන අදහස මට මේ වෙලාවේ මම ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න කැමතියි. Thank you.
Hello. මම ශ්‍රී ලංකාවෙන් පුත්තලමෙන් ඉන්ද්‍රාණි ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍ර hello. hello. මාව ඇහෙනවද?
ඇහෙනවා කියන්න ඉන්ද්‍රාණි කියනවා.
ඔව් මම පුත්තලම ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍ර පදනමෙන් කතා කරන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ. අපි ලිංගික ශ්‍රමික කාන්තාවන් එක්ක වැඩ කරන්නේ. එතකොට මෙතනදී කියුණා 22% වගේ සංවිධාන තියෙනවා කියලා ලිංගික ශ්‍රමිකයින් එක්ක වැඩ කරන සංවිධාන. ඒත් එක්කම මෙතනදී මතක් කරන්න ඕන දැන් අපි ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍ර පදනම හැටියට අපි වෙනස් කොට සැලකීමටපත් ප්‍රජාවගේ අයිතිවාසිකම් වෙනුවෙන් වැඩ කරන සංවිධානයක් විශේෂයෙන්ම ලිංගික ශ්‍රමික කාන්තාවන් ඒ වගේම විදේශ සම්භාවයක් තියෙන ශ්‍රී ලාංකික පුරවැසි ප්‍රජාව. ඒ කියන්නේ අප්‍රිකන් ඒ වගේම තෙලිඟු මතාව් තෙලිඟු කියන මේ ප්‍රජාවන් එක්ක වැඩ කරනවා. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලන්ට වෙන හිංසනය ඒ වගේම ඒගොල්ලන් මුණ දෙන ප්‍රචණ්ඩත්වය වෙනස් කොට සැලකීම වගේ දේවල් ඇත්තට මම හිතන්නේ මෙතනදී මතුවෙලා නැහැ කියලා මම විශ්වාස කරනවා. මොකද අපි ළඟ ඒ වගේ දත්ත තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි මෙතනදී මතක කරන්න ඕන අපි වතු වල වැඩ කරන නුවරඑළිය වගේ වැඩ කරන ප්‍රජාව අපි දැන් හඳුනගෙන ඉන්නවා ලිංගික ශ්‍රමික කාන්තාවන්. ඔවුන් එළියට එන්න බයයි. ඔවුන් තනිව වැඩ කරන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ට ගොඩක් ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා. ඉතින් මම හිතන්නේ ලිංගික ශ්‍රමික කාන්තාවන් එක්ක වැඩ කරන ආයතනයක් හැටියට ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍ර පදනමට මම හිතන්නේ අපිට මීට වැඩිය තොරතුරු අපි ළඟ තියෙනවා. ඉතින් මම හිතන්නේ ඉදිරියට මේ ගැන මේ ඔබතුමියන්ලගේ අවධානය යොමු කරන්න කියලා මම ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා. ස්තුතියි.
Thank you for two very valid comments, which brings out the kind of harassment and violence that is faced by sex workers, by women in the estates, also in those who are in LGBTQ activism, by non-binary persons. So I'm sure, Maria, in your report, if any further in terms of the different populations, different communities, structurally silenced communities whose information you have got in the report, I'm sure you will get to read that in the report itself. Next comment, someone wants to share from MWDF. Yes, please.
Yes. I am Mahalakshmi, working at Mana Women's Development Federation as district coordinator. I would like to share one thing. It is very comfortable to speak in Tamil. Some translator will translate it.
Maha, speak in Tamil.
Yes, yes. எங்களோட நாட்டிலையும் சரி உலக நாங்க பார்க்கிறோம் என்னன்னு சொன்னா பெண்கள் தொடர்பாக பெண்கள் தொடர்பாக வேலை செய்யற நாங்கள் வந்து பார்க்கிறோம் என்னன்னு சொன்னா, பெண்கள் சார்ந்து பிரச்சனைகள் சமூக மட்டத்துல இருக்கிற பிரச்சனைகளுக்காக வேலை செய்யும் அமைப்புகளைத்தான் நாங்க அதிகமா பார்க்கிறோம். இன்றைக்கு இலங்கையில நாங்க பார்த்தோம் என்றால் தீர்மானம் எடுக்கிற துறையில வந்து பெண்கள் இல்லாதது ஒரு பெரிய குறைபாடாக இருக்கு. இன்றைக்கு எங்களுடைய அரசியல் கலாச்சாரத்தை நாங்க எடுத்து பார்ப்போமானால் அங்கே பெண்கள் அரசியல்ல ஈடுபடுறது வந்து சரியான குறைவா இருக்குது. அப்ப நாங்க பிரச்சனைக்காக வேலை செய்ய போறோமா அல்லது இந்த பிரச்சனைகளை இல்லாம ஆக்குவதற்கு தீர்மானம் எடுக்கும் துறைகள்ல வந்து பெண்களை வந்து வலுவூற்றுறதுல வந்து பெரிய பங்கு இருக்குது. அதாவது கிரீடா போன்ற நிறுவனங்கள் வந்து பெண்கள் சார்ந்து வேலை செய்கின்ற காரணத்தினால் நான் யோசிக்கிறேன், எதிர்காலத்துல இந்த பெண்கள் வந்து அரசியல்ல ஈடுபட வேணும், அவர்கள் தீர்மானம் எடுக்கும் துறைகள்ல வந்து அவர்கள் இருந்தால்தான் ஓரளவாவது பெண்களுடைய நலன் சார்ந்த பல திட்டங்களை உருவாக்க முடியும். இன்னைக்கு நாங்க எத்தனை பெண்கள் அமைப்புகளுடைய இலங்கையில நிறைய ஃபெமினிஸ்ட் இருப்பதாக ஆய்வுல சொல்லப்பட்டது. உண்மையா சந்தோஷமா இருந்தாலும் கூட இன்னைக்கு அரசியல்ல வந்து பெண்கள் இருக்கிறது வந்து சரியான குறைவா இருக்கு. அப்ப இது சார்ந்து நிறைய வேலை செய்யணும். அது மட்டும் இல்ல, இந்த கெப்பாசிட்டி பில்டிங் தொடர்பாக வலுவூட்டல் தொடர்பாக நீங்க கதைச்சீங்க. பெண்கள் அமைப்புகள்ல வந்து இந்த அரசியல்ல ஈடுபடுத்துறதுக்கான அறிவூட்டலை வந்து பெண்கள் அமைப்புகளுக்கு கொடுத்து களத்துல இப்பவே இருந்து அதை ஆரம்பிக்க வேணும்ன்றது என்னுடைய ஆதங்கமா இருக்குது. ஏன்னா கடந்த காலமா நான் 20 வருட காலமா வேலை செய்திருக்கேன். பெண்களுடைய பிரச்சனைகளை மிகவும் ஆழமாக அவர்கள் உன்னிப்பாக அவர்கள் இருக்கிற பிரச்சனைகள் நான் பார்த்தேன். ஆனா இன்றைக்கும் அவர்களுடைய பிரச்சனைகளை தீர்வை பெற்றுக்கொள்ள முடியாம இருக்கு. ஏன்னா தீர்மானம் எடுக்கும் துறைகள்ல வந்து ஆண்கள் தான் பங்களிக்கிறாங்க கூடுதலா. அப்ப ஆண்கள் வந்து கூடுதலாக பங்களிச்சு இருக்கிற இந்த காரணத்தினால வந்து பெண்களுடைய கருத்துக்கள் எல்லா இடத்திலையுமே எடுக்கப்படுதில்லை, மட்டம் தட்டப்படுது. அவர்களுடைய எந்த கேள்விகளுக்கும் அவருடைய கருத்துக்கும் முன்னுரிமை கொடுக்காத நிலைமை இருக்கு. அப்ப நாங்க இதுல கூட கவனம் செலுத்தோடும்ன்றது என்னுடைய தனிப்பட்ட கருத்தாக இருக்கு. தேங்க்யூ.
வணக்கம்.
Thank you. Thank you for highlighting a very, very important aspect in terms of empowerment of women, which is linked to ensuring increasing participation of women in political space, in politics, and also kind of focusing capacity development efforts on women's leadership, which might then therefore lead to some of them coming into political spaces, so that we do have women increasing need for more women in policy space. Thank you. Any more questions?
சந்திரமதி பேசுறேன். நான் சோஷியல் வெல்ஃபேர் மன்றம் ஸ்ரீலங்காவில் டீ பிளான்டேஷன், அதாவது தேயிலை தோட்ட பகுதி மக்களுக்கு பணியாற்றுகின்ற ஒரு நிறுவனம், பெண்கள் நிறுவனம். இதுல முக்கியமாக நிறைய விஷயங்கள் எங்களுக்கு கிடைக்கப்பட்டுருச்சு. உண்மையிலேயே இந்த அமர்வுல கலந்து கொண்டதுக்கு நான் மிகவும் நன்றி கூறுகின்றேன். நல்ல ஒரு சந்தர்ப்பம், எங்களுடைய கவலைகளை ஆதங்கங்களை நாங்கள் பகிர்ந்து கொண்டுவதற்கான ஒரு தளமாக இது இருக்கின்றது. இதுல முக்கியமாக என்னன்னு சொல்ல போனா, நாங்க வந்து பெண்களுக்கு வந்து தொடர்ந்து பெண்கள் துன்புறுத்தப்படுகின்றார்கள் என்பதில் எந்தவித சந்தேகமும் இல்லை. அது எவ்வளவு அமைப்புகள் வந்தாலும் எவ்வளவு வேலை செய்தாலும் இது ஒழுங்கமைக்கப்பட்ட, இப்ப இந்த மலையக பெண்களை எடுத்துக்கிட்டா இது ஒழுங்கமைக்கப்பட்ட ஒடுக்கப்படுகின்ற, அது பாலியலா இருக்கலாம், அவர்களை தொழில் ரீதியான ஒரு துன்புறுத்தலா இருக்கலாம், இது ஒழுங்கு அமைக்கப்பட்டு வடிவமைக்கப்பட்டு தான் நடைபெறுகின்றது. அப்ப இதுல ஒன்று என்னன்னு சொன்னா, அவர்களுடைய பாதுகாப்புக்காக இந்த ஒடுக்கப்படுகின்றவர்கள், அதாவது இந்த வர்க்க ரீதியில் இந்த மக்கள் எடுத்துக்கிட்டா இந்த பெண்கள் தான் முதலாளிமார்கள், அந்த தோட்ட முதலாளிமார்களால அடி வாங்குறாங்க, உதவி வாங்குறாங்க. அவர்களுக்கு கேட்க யாரும் இல்லை. இப்ப சாதாரணமாக குரல் கொடுத்து இதுக்கு வேலை இல்லை. மிகவும் ஒழுங்கமைக்கப்பட்ட ஒரு கட்டமைப்பை நாங்க ஏற்படுத்தினா தான் இந்த துன்புறுத்தல்கள்ல இருந்து இவர்களை விடுவிக்க முடியும் என்று நான் சொல்றேன். அதே நேரத்துல நாங்கள் 1 வருட 2 வருட கால ப்ரொஜெக்ட் செய்து இதுல வெற்றி காண்பதுங்கிறது கொஞ்சம் கடினமாக இருக்கின்றது. இவர்களுக்கு நீண்ட கால ஒரு நீண்ட காலமான வேலை திட்டங்களை உருவாக்கி இந்த அடிமட்டத்திலிருந்து இந்த கட்டமைப்புகளை நாங்கள் ஏற்படுத்தினால் மாத்திரமே இந்த பெண்களுக்கான ஒரு விடுதலை, அவர்கள் குடும்ப வன்முறையாக இருந்தால் என்ன, வர்க்க ரீதியான ஒடுக்குமுறையாக இருந்தால் என்ன, இவர்களுக்கு தொடர்ந்து நாங்கள் இவர்களுக்கு பாதுகாக்க வேண்டும். இவர்களுக்கு வேலை செய்கின்ற நிறுவனங்களுக்கு முதல் பாதுகாப்பு இல்லை என்பதை நான் இந்த இடத்தில் குறிப்பிட விரும்புகின்றேன். இந்த நிறுவனங்கள் பெண்களுக்காக பணியாற்றுகின்ற பொழுது அந்த நிறுவனங்களுக்கான அச்சுறுத்தல் நிறையவே இருக்கின்றது. அந்த நிறுவனங்களில் வேலை செய்கின்ற தனிநபர்களோ அந்த குழுவையோ பாதுகாப்பதற்கான எந்த விதமான ஒரு ஏற்பாடுகளும் நான் நினைக்கிறேன் நேஷனல் லெவல்லையும் சரி, நாங்க உலகளாவிய ரீதியிலும் சரி இன்னும் ஏற்படுத்தாம தான் இருக்கின்றோம். அதன் காரணமாக எங்களுக்கு தொடர்ந்து இந்த விடுதலைக்கான இந்த வேலை திட்டத்தை தொடர்ந்து செய்வதில் இந்த பல தடைகள் ஏற்படுகின்றது. விழிப்புணர்வுகளை நாங்கள் ஏற்படுத்த செல்லுகின்ற பொழுது அவர்கள் உணர்வு அடைந்து சில வேலைகளை முன்வந்து அவர்கள் கதைக்கின்ற போது, நடவடிக்கை எடுக்கின்ற போது இருக்கின்ற அச்சுறுத்தல்கள் பெரிதாக இருக்கின்றது. அதற்கான சில வேலை திட்டங்களை நாங்கள் ஒன்றிணைந்து செய்தால் மிகவும் உதவியாக இருக்கும் என்று நான் கேட்டுக்கொள்கின்றேன். நன்றி.
Thank you, Chandramati, for raising a very important issue of organizations who work with women whose lived experiences are often silenced and do not have a voice, particularly in the tea plantation areas that you've shared, and the need for a conversation on feminist protection issues, both for women directly in the community who face violence, and also for organizations that you mentioned who work on the issue and with people on the issue of GBV, feminist protection issues in this. Thank you for raising this. Anyone else who would like to share? We did have in the Bangladesh presentation also a commonality here with the structurally silenced communities in the tea plantation areas, tea garden areas of Bangladesh. So what has been highlighted here, we do see a resonance of that even in Bangladesh. Those working in plantation areas, plantation workers, and particularly women plantation workers, and their experiences of GBV, and not being able to speak out, or not having a national voice where their struggles are heard.
Yeah, Sudipta, I think
Yes.
we have.
We can now move on to the next bit. We don't have any more questions or comments. Thank you all. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Sudipta. Thank you, Gayatri, and thank you everyone, those who shared your concerns, the Sri Lankan context. And yeah, obviously it has guided us where we need to focus more, where we need to work further. So like alongside thanking you all to join us, discuss together, and having this report, knowing about what is happening at this point of time, I'm sure many of you have more experience to share, and we may further organize a lot of meetings, webinars, or in-person event to exchange our views, to learn more on the context, so that the work that we want to do is more context specific and can address the very root causes of the problem. So having said that, I think we have 3 more minutes to finish our today's webinar. So we have together with us our colleagues from Sri Lanka, from diverse organizations. And we have with us Maria, and Maria and her colleagues actually worked so hard to accomplish this one. And we have AFD representatives, and we, those who are working for FON, we are here together. So I think it's a good, we have begin our work. This is a good way to interact what we want to share. So I would like to again request Sudipta to share your closing notes for us and maybe a way forward for us to go forward. Over to you, guys.
Thanks,
Sudipta.
Pani. On behalf of Maria and Maria's team, and on behalf of the FON team in Kriya, much thanks to all of you for taking out time. As next steps, Bani has already shared the report and the PPT in the chat box for you to download. But more importantly is how we take this report and keep the learnings in mind in the context that each one of you are working, and as part of FON supported or other supported projects, because it's extremely important that we do not just look at GBV from a single lens, as the report says, that we understand resources, we understand the needs of participation, understand the different structurally silenced communities who continue to face GBV, but the role that CSOs play today and the need for CSOs to continue to work on this issue. So I'm sure we'll have more conversation on this in the future, on this issue and also CSO engagement. Thank you all, and many thanks for AFD colleagues for joining in today from Colombo. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you very much on behalf of IFD and all
Thank you.
participants. It was very interesting and insightful.
Thank you for this opportunity. Good luck for the continuation. Bye.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you,
Thank you.
Lars. Thank you, colleagues, for joining us. We'll be in touch with you.